We are tonight's entertainment.
You can't handle the truth.
The fire rises.
Pizza time.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So it begins.
You know how much I sacrificed?
You think that's air you're breathing?
Groovy.
I don't have friends. I got family.
We are Sex People! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Craft Services.
Hey, Trent.
Hi, Parth.
You're looking well.
You too.
What'd you eat most recently?
I had a busy morning, and I was like, if this goes kind of okay, I'm going to reward myself with some ice cream, like an American would do. And so I went to Dairy Queen, got a Blizzard.
Very good.
And I ate it outside in the sun, and I was
Is Dairy Queen the one where they turn it upside down?
Good question, yes. And the person who was making it, their t-shirt and all the commercials, they obviously flip it, and I believe the promotion is something along the lines of, if anything falls out, it's free.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like...
Or we'll make you another one and it's free.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. And the person sure had some sort of, like, reference to the fact of, like, oh, we flip it over, blah, blah, blah. And I've never once seen them do that.
Oh, really?
Never
I think
once.
I went to a Dairy Queen once, and they did do it for me. So maybe it's just something about, like, your vibe.
I feel like if I asked, they would be like, we actually don't do that at this location. Or you're right, maybe they're like, we do that, but we just don't. Something about you makes us not want to do it.
Right.
So that was a good experience. What about you?
Thanks for asking. My very good friend and I, Sophia Alexis, went out to a coffee shop with another friend off the show, Katie Farr, one of the twins, Trent, if you remember.
I remember. She looked just like her sister, her twin sister.
That's true. Jessie Farr. Hey, whoa, twins. Kind of relating to the movie today.
The movie of the day, Ryan Coogler's smash hit, Sinners. Yes, but we'll get to that later.
We're talking
about what's inside Parth's stomach. More importantly,
and what's going to come out.
Oh God.
Yeah, I guess we don't really want to talk about that. Yeah, so Sophia really likes to do work in coffee shops. It just like helps her vibe. She likes to not be doing work in her bed, which is good and totally fair. But I'm always sort of more...
You bring your bed to the coffee shop?
I do. No, I prefer doing work in a library because I don't like to spend money on coffee. But Sophia, she's like, but I'm doing work like hourly work. And if I just pay $5 for a coffee or whatever it is, then I'm going to be far more productive than...
She can justify it.
Yeah, so she does sort of mental gymnastics to, make it make sense to her, which is fine. But the thing is, the nice thing about me coming along to these events is that she sometimes gets me a little treat. Because I'll always say no.
You're like being a kid at the grocery store with your mom, and you're at the checkout, and she's like, all right, Parth, you can get one thing.
Whenever she asks me, like whenever we're in line, though, I always say no. I don't want anything. So now she's just circumvented that by not asking me, and she almost always just gets me something. Aww. And I'm like, oh, cool. So she got me a little banana bread and herself a coffee cake, but we really sort of made it half and half. So we
isn't that half. Like half the reason to be in a relationship?
I'm not kidding. Whenever we go out together, I would say like 90% of the time we order like meals together. Whenever we go to AMC Lincoln Square, we like to go to this restaurant Parm, which is not far, and we like their penny vodka and a salad, but we'll split it. And if we're ever like out to drink, I'll get a beer and we'll split it. And then she'll get a cider and we'll split it. So like we sort of split everything. Sort of like how we split these episodes into 2 parts.
And sort of like how we divide the episode, the parts within the episode. There's like the sort of intro where we talk about what we've been eating, and then there's like the intro after the intro where we sort of introduce the episode, and then there's the episode itself, and then of course obviously the outro, and this is the end of the beginning of the episode.
Right, and those each require transition points, and thankfully we have some transitional music.
And 2 kings who rule the transitional kingdom who dole out transitions to the transition villages, and I'm about to dole out a big heaping wad of a transition.
Cue the intro. Welcome back to Craft Services, where we talk about the movies. Each week we talk about a film and hopefully have a crew member of that film to talk with us about their experience working on the picture. This week, we have the first woman and maybe
the first woman ever.
Yes, the first woman and maybe person of color. I can't imagine anybody else, but to ever shoot on IMAX film, Autumn Durald Arkapaw, here to talk about her work on Sinners.
What a awesome guest! One awesome interview. One awesome movie that the interview and the interviewee is covering, and luckily, the interviewee was the cinematographer of the film, so she was pretty involved, I'd say.
I would say so, too. And this is sort of particularly a large format film, and it's sort of unthinkable to watch this movie in any other way. So I'm really glad that we got, the person that fucking shot it and made it look real good. And may I say, sounded real good.
Oh, I thought you were going to say... Well, it did sound really good, but if you listened real close in the last interview, you would hear Parth say, it's his favorite movie of the year so far.
It is my favorite movie of the year so far.
And if you follow Parth on Letterboxd, boy goes to the movies pretty frequently, so
it's
pretty
true.
Flattering.
AMC A-list.
Yeah.
It's a magical thing.
Without revealing too much about myself, I will say, on dating apps now, maybe it's just like the algorithm, but people mentioning either A-list or Letterboxd. It's like if you took a shot every time, you'd be dead.
Dead?
You'd be dead. And so I can't decide whether to be like so happy, like look at all these great cinema goers out in the world, or whether I'm just another cliche.
Trent, there's nothing wrong with being a cliche, and there's nothing wrong with our interview, which I kind of want to cue right now. Trent, how do you feel about that?
There's nothing wrong with revealing a bit too much personal information during the intro, but there's also nothing wrong about cutting yourself off with a great part 2 of an interview with a really cool person.
Trent, I'm going to have to demote you to transition prince. I'm sorry. Let's cue the interview. I think we are reaching now a point where we can get into some spoilers. And, Trent and I were talking about how there's the shot in the movie, which I'm sure you will be asked about a lot, but we'd be stupid not to ask you about it. Can you talk about I don't know how many minutes long it is, but the oneer in the juke joint? Can you talk about and walk us through the development of that, the actual shooting of it, and, putting it all together? Because I was almost in tears watching that.
Yeah, no, you're not the only one. Yeah, it's been really nice to hear the response to that scene, because I think it's a scene that is so imaginative, right? And it comes like direct. It's like one of those soulful shots that like will stick with you, right? So it's like you might not even be able to explain what you saw. Some people have their own opinions, but like it's executed in such a way that you feel it. And the way it was written, because it was a scene that was written in his script, is beautifully written, and you don't exactly know what it's going to look like until you start having that dialogue with Ryan, right? And really get his take on what he's after. But I was just excited the moment I read it, because it just opened up my imagination musically, historically, and ancestral, like all of these different kind of elements coming together in this really interesting way that you're able to escape the film for a moment, right? And kind of dream. It's a big dreamy shot. So in prep, that's the first conversation, is like, what does it mean to you? What do you envision for this? When the roof, when it opens up, what does that even look like to you? And so that's the first step at kind of executing a shot like that, is to really figure out what his vision is, and to help carry that out. And so that was our first kind of base talk about it. And then it becomes like getting all the departments together, because, he really wanted it to be one fluid shot. That was important to try and figure out how to make it feel fluid. And then also, him working with Ludwig and Raphael Sadiq, that's its own element because, they create this song and then Ryan sends it to us and we listen to it. And then, there's that big inspiration, right? And then it's figuring out the timing of things, how you want to move around the camera. So then we work with VFX to put together a previs. And I was giving Rala, my notes on flow, right? Because I think for me, it's super important as far as like honing in on my craft and making sure that I do justice not only to the beautiful music, but just to what it means to Ryan, the shot itself. So making sure camera flows in the right way so it doesn't feel stuck or clunky. So that we looked at a previs, we put together that and that goes through various iterations. And then when it gets to a good point, you do rehearsal. And we shot it with the IMAX camera on Steadicam. And so I think it's like 75 seconds you get for that shot because you have to spool down the 1,000-foot load, because it's very heavy, in order to put it on a Steadicam rig. And Bernard Sharon, our amazing Steadicam operator, was someone who I worked with in commercials and then was introduced to through my husband who worked with him. And when I couldn't find someone that had done it before, Adam, my husband, was like, Bernard's your guy. Like, he's the best. He'll make it happen. And so he did some, not for this scene, but he did some prep where he put it on his rig and, I saw that he felt comfortable and I was like, okay, so he got the job. And then when you have someone in a position that is so good at what they do and our focus pullers are so amazing and my A camera first, Ethan McDonald, like you can dream as big as you want. You can put the IMAX camera on a Steadicam for the full roll. You can move it around elegantly. You can do fight sequences with it. So it was fun to know that we could execute this with a Steadicam and that the shot would be smooth and work out. And so we did a rehearsal. And then Ludwig's team is there and making sure that, the music timing with the camera and that the moments that Ryan wants to see, the different historical representations of different things or music is at the right timing, right? It's seeing the right things. Because as you can see, there's so much timing with the choreographers there helping us figure the timing out, and he's bringing in all these amazing artists and dancers and musicians from all over to be a part of it. So it's a very communal experience. But yeah, it takes a lot of planning and trial and error because there's some handoffs and, you want to make sure they're seamless. So it's 3 shots. It's 3 Steadicam shots in the mill that was shot on a stage. And then it goes up to a roof, which is a takeover from VFX. We shot a burning roof plate on our last day of photography with our amazing SFX team. And so they used that plate, of the burning roof. And then it tips back down into the night exterior, which is done on a different location and was shot at night, obviously. And it pulls back on a 50-foot movie bird that was on track. And it booms down perfectly, framing these 3 characters on their back. And then, the way the music kicks in and soundtrack and all that, the score is just wonderful. So I think, again, you feel it, right? It's one of those shots that from conception is executed very well, but it's also got so much meaning and heart in it. So I think that's what people are also responding to as well.
In scenes where there's moments of heavy CGI use, say just like spoiler alert, like when the vampires, when the sun comes up and they sort of melt and stuff. When you're shooting that on the day, how much sort of uncertainty is in the back of your head of I know the plan, I know what we're supposed to do today, but I kind of only sort of know what this is going to look like? Or do you know exactly what it's going to be? Or if you could speak on that.
Yeah, no, it's my job. I take my job seriously, so I'm speaking for myself, but I'm very particular. So when it comes to what is this going to look like? I make sure that I'm asking Rala all the questions that I need because he knows that I get upset very easily about that stuff if I find out later that it turns out poorly. So it really is you have a meeting, right? And it's what does this look like? What does Ryan want here? Is it a wide shot? How many people are coming into the frame? Where's the fire? Is it on their backs? What's it going to look like? Is it going to look real? What do you need from me? He's asking me, do we put you need some type of reference kind of light, even though if you're going to do a full CG replacement of somebody and then recreate fire on their back, it's always great, like I said before, to give someone a reference for that. So we had some Astera tubes that we put on people just so that when we're on our wide shot, you can actually see that texture of light, emanating from those positions of those people in the wide shot, right? And then, having flame bars on set to give that effect of them burning. It's not obviously, no one is in the audience, the one that you said, as far as the audience of vampires that are watching, we obviously had the guy, Remick, he was in a full burn suit, and then, we got that element, but for the people watching him, they were not. And it's about giving them reference, right? What does the light look like? So we do all of this stuff in prep. Like Michael Ralla's team is generating images to show us kind of like what that potentially will look like. Ryan goes through all of it and he picks like his favorite things, and we talk about it as far as like what time of day it is, what color is the light, what's important. So when you're on set, it's about getting all of those materials shot as reference material so that you have a very good idea of what it looks like. But again, it's also a taste thing, right? So I'm working with people that have very good taste, and, they know that how important it is for Ryan and I for something to look realistic. And because you don't want anyone to kind of like come out of the story, right? Like the imagination is big, so you want to try and keep them in there. So yeah, and also we're working on a format where, there aren't many movies that have these visual effects. Like on this format, there's a lot of VFX because of the twinning aspect, right? And some of the horror aspect, even though Fontaine, who's fabulous, who did all of the makeup, like it's so important that Ryan, had all of that in camera. And then, obviously there are some times where you have to do work to like transition you from, when he's burning and stuff like that. But it was, again, all important to do as much there and have those real textures. So as far as my job, it's, making sure you ask the right questions, see references, right? If someone's explaining something to you and you can't visualize it, it's like, show me like what potentially that this is going to become so that I know how to frame or what's most important. So I find that, it's really our team, because we're close and we know each other, that we really do make sure that we answer questions ahead of time. Like I don't want to guess, like, especially for me, like I'm such the protector of the image and making sure I carry out Ryan's vision, that like, I don't want to be guessing at all.
Given that, were there any scenes or shots that once you were on set did change drastically, like the visual approach, working with the actors, or where it was very different from what your plan was?
Yeah, Ryan loves to storyboard. So Louis, his storyboard artist, who I've known from Panther, who's awesome. And he was there on this shoot, like in the room, which is great, right? So you can sit down with him. And again, it's just so imaginative of a process where you have, again, someone, he's close with, that he knows, and that I've met before, coming up with great ideas. And so we boarded the movie, but what's great about our process is you can have the whole movie boarded, but once you're in the space and you see Michael's performance and you see Delroy's performance and Miles and Jamie and all these amazing actors kind of working off of each other, like you can easily, adjust for the moment after seeing the blocking. And I would say, having a great team, being able to move fast and being good, you can change things quickly without getting in the way of, the process. And so I think we always kind of had a plan or idea of what we wanted to do, because we had some boards and the shot selection that he was after. But we always do adjust on the day according to, what we're being thrown, because sometimes weather interrupts that process. Sometimes, the blocking needs to be adjusted because there are new ideas that make it better. All of these things kind of, when they are being thrown at you, it's your job to kind of make decisions quickly and know how to give someone what they want without, halting the process. So I feel like it was nice to go through all these things and plan out our day, because I think because we knew the format was really important, we were shooting on film and we wanted to run 2 cameras. And our AD Marvin and Ryan and I would sit down, we would go through the day's work, say, for instance, in Donaldsonville is where we shot the grocery store scene with Michael. There's a lot going on there. It was very important that Ryan have that oneer that took Lisa over to the white store and then brought back her mother to the other store. And so figuring out the logistics of executing that. And then look, we got lucky on the day with great weather. Like that's huge, right? You sometimes you don't get lucky. And so planning all of the great shots out on a list to make sure that you kind of get them, we always kind of do that. And then at the beginning of the day, we have like a menu Ryan puts together of the shots that we are after. And then we plan out our day and then adjust accordingly. depending on, what happens, because there's always delays, how it is. Things happen and things can get drawn out or delayed. But yeah, I do feel like I like to work like that. I always like to see the space, and I use a finder. That's my process. So I use director's viewfinder and put the lens on the finder and then find it and then show it to Ryan. And we have a discussion, and then, we kind of go to war and we figure out how to cover the scene.
So I think the last scene we want to talk about is the last scene in the movie, which, without giving too much away, features a significant time jump and is sort of like an important PS on the movie, I believe, after the director title card. If you could just talk about like that taking shape, or any conversations based around that sort of very important final scene.
Yeah, after credit scene. Obviously, when we shot that, it wasn't an after credit scene. It found its way there. That sequence was shot on our first day of filming with Buddy Guy, and it was, obviously a super important scene to everybody involved, to Ryan, to have Buddy there playing music in a space in New Orleans at a club. So it was a club in New Orleans that Hannah made into a set, and we shot there on our first day of shooting. And so it was funny because you're there shooting the scene, but then he's playing live music as well. And you're just like trying to focus, but you're also like, I'm sitting here filming him playing music, and it's resonating through your body. So yeah, I love that scene. There's so much color in that scene, the costumes, the set. I just love the exposure and how that scene turned out. It's very rich. And I think it's nice to kind of remind everybody. It's like such a kind of history saturated scene because you go forward in time, but then it cuts and has some of the flashback images, if you recall, that pop up in the different formats that remind you when he says that the last time I saw my brother was the last time I've seen the sun. I mean, that line itself is enough. And then he cuts to an image that we shot that when we did shoot that, it wasn't known that it was going to be there. Which is great, right? Because I always love, when you have Ryan and Michael working together in the edit, I don't watch the final until they're done, just because, there's obviously various iterations and stuff like that. And so it's always great to see how certain scenes turn out, because not all the time do you know exactly how they're going to be cut, or, if other things will be intercut in that scene. But yeah, that's shot on Ultra Panavision with our Ultra Panatars, but then also IMAX. And there were some more shots that we needed for that scene. So we did have to, later in principle, have Hannah rebuild that set and shoot some more. And Buddy came back and we shot a bit more. So I would say, yeah, you've got about 2 days of footage there that make up that scene. But yeah, it's very like having Stat come back, and then Haley, it's such a great scene. I really like that the people that's, know that it's coming and stay in the theater. It's a nice kind of cherry on top of that.
So as we sort of start to wrap up, is there something you sort of learned on this movie, technically or thematically or whatever, that you will take with you into the future on other movies?
Yeah, I mean, I feel very, very fortunate, honestly. I always feel that way when I work with Ryan, because I think for me, like my husband's a DP, we have a son. I feel like when I'm gone and I give, 6 months or a year to somebody to make a picture, it's a lot. It puts a lot of pressure on my family, my son. And so, if I'm out there, like, it better be good, And I think with Ryan, yeah, it's like, it's always with Ryan, he's similar, where family means so much to them, and he is so kind, and the way in which he makes films is from the heart. So I feel very comfortable when we work together that we're going to be doing something that's going to inspire many people and is important. So I take the work very seriously. And I think in this regard, with this picture, because it's so close to home for him and it comes all from his brain, it was so amazing to be out there, and like any questions you had, like there was a story as to why, it was that way. Like I was so aware of the fact that like he wrote every single line. He always writes, but just that the idea for the film comes from him and his experiences and things that are important to him. Yeah, there was such an importance to it. And then layer the large format on top of that, even more so. And then also layer Michael's performance on top of that, because we have not seen Michael like this before. It was like, especially think about the end of the movie and that one scene where he's holding the baby. Like, I remember that day and I was just blown away. I was like, this is like, just being there in general was important. So the fact that you guys all love it is just a bonus, because you did feel like you were making something so important culturally when you were on set in Louisiana, where your ancestors were picking cotton. You know, we had something to say, I think, as a team. So I will just hold the whole experience close to my heart. So I'll bring that, you know, on any project. And I think that's just having a love for the game, really, and making sure that those opportunities that we get, because not a lot of people are in our position at this level to be doing work like this. So I feel very proud and grateful that he gave me that opportunity.
Parth, is it Big Kahuna time?
I think it's Big Kahuna time.
I don't know what that is. Should I have researched?
No, not to worry. We're about to hit you with the Big Kahuna final question. The Big Kahuna final question, don't be nervous, is what is the last great, not just good film that you watched as a viewer? And it can be a first-time viewing or a rewatch. Doesn't matter.
It was The Brutalist. Yeah.
The Brutalist was just on my mind a second ago, because I was going to say, you know, we interviewed the DP of The Brutalist, and he ended up winning the Oscar, and I've got a good feeling about this interview, at least for a nom. So, best of luck.
Yeah. No, I saw it. And again, it was just like, I felt it, right? That's it. I felt it. I felt what they were trying to say. It felt different, and I couldn't stop watching it. So, yeah.
Well,
amazing.
Yeah, it's the universe is reflecting fondly upon you. We'll see you. We'll see you next year.
Yes.
Will that hopefully, knock on touch wood, would that be your first Academy Awards?
Yeah. I mean, as you know, it's not, my gender doesn't end up there often, unfortunately. So,
No.
In the past, there's been a few of us, but yeah, it's not. So yes, it would be a first on many levels for myself, but yeah.
We were speaking with your assistant earlier, and I was saying that it would be insane to me if you do not win the Oscar. So if nothing else, you win the Oscar in our hearts.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Trust me, I'm one of those people. Also, I want to let you guys know this is my first podcast, not ever.
Oh,
You reached out directly, and I got your email, and then I looked into what you guys do, and I was like, oh, they're really cool. Like, this is cool. So this is the first one I've done so far on the movie. So thank you.
That's an amazing place to close out, Trent.
Yeah, you saw our live reaction to learning that fact. And to that, I will say thank you so much to Autumn Durald Arkapaw. She's the DP behind such films as Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, The Last Showgirl, and our film for today, Ryan Coogler's Sinners. Go see it on as big a screen as possible as is available to you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Parth?
Trent.
That was fun, man.
That was fun.
I wish we could do that all again. And the good thing about the business we're in is because I could just listen to the episode again if I really wanted that experience again.
That's true.
Or if you wanted an experience similar, you could just go watch Sinners in a theater.
Which we both encourage you do. I think by the time this interview comes out, Thunderbolts will have overtaken IMAX screens. Whatever the largest screen you possibly can see Sinners on, you should see Sinners on, because it really begs to be viewed in that way.
I couldn't agree more. So thank you once again to Autumn Durald Arkapaw, our super dope guest. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your team who helped set up the interview. Excited to see whatever you do next. Well, we hope to interview you then as well. You can listen to our episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcast and Stitcher, and on social media we're on Instagram and Twitter. And next week...
But Trent...
Yeah, no. Slow down.
Okay. I thought you forgot for a second.
Parth, we're friends here. We have a friendship. Here.
Okay, so I demoted you to Transition Prince. You're back to Transition King.
Thank you. See, that compliment, it brings our friendship. So like you could, you be the Tim Robinson and I'll be the Paul Rudd. You be the A, I'll be the 24.
Oh, okay. Hey, we're both 24 now.
I'm glad you mentioned this. I feel like sometimes we'll like record episodes like on like a Tuesday, and then the day our episodes will come out will happen to be like fucking Easter or something.
Yes.
And I feel like that just happened, and then the episode came out on Easter and there was no mention of Easter at all. And so I don't want your birthday to get caught up.
To go unannounced.
Thank
Guys.
You were worried about it, and it happened. Parth is alive another year, and he's just getting stronger. He's just getting started.
Getting stronger every day. That was like a bad Emperor Palpatine, but
Parth's 24. Oh, speaking of Emperor Palpatine, I saw
Revenge of the Sith.
He
in
saw
theaters.
Star Wars Revenge of the Sith re-release
On my birthday.
On his birthday. He said he had a sobering experience where he felt this was his first adult birthday, where people still like went to work and stuff and didn't pay their full attention to him, and we're just like, oh, Parth, by the way, happy birthday text.
Yeah, but that was sad. But you know what's not sad? What's kind of, well, maybe it's a little sad.
Hang out with
but
your friends.
It's also funny.
Laughing at the movies?
Well, you should see Sinners in theaters, but by the time this episode comes out, another movie's going to be coming out in theaters just that next weekend. And it's Friendship.
It's Friendship. Yeah, I think you said, as glowing of an endorsement as you can give, I think you said during the interview that this was the hardest you've seen me laugh maybe ever, and I think that might be the same case. That might be the case for my memory. At least
Yes.
in a movie theater, I'm sure at some point you said something so hilarious that,
Oh,
you
that's
know,
nice
that
of you to
a
say.
writer in a writer's room couldn't even dream up.
I think the 2 times I've seen you laugh in a theater this hard were this movie and A Real Pain.
Yeah.
But Trent's a little touchy about that. But anyways, we talked with cinematographer Andy Radzewski about his work on Friendship, and he was super cool, very nice. And Trent, I haven't started editing it. We usually
It's going to be great.
We usually do these in 2 parts, but our conversation went a little long.
I know,
So
he was really generous with this time.
we were like, well, we have a bunch of questions, but you don't have to stay. Like, it's Easter, dude. And then he was like, no, I'm on your time, boys.
I was just like, at the end of the interview, I just started being like, why is the sky blue?
Yeah,
Like,
and he was
I
like,
start-
he gave
I-
like a thoughtful, insightful answer about it.
I was like, my jeans don't fit the same way they used to. Like, is my body changing? Or like, and then I like showed him a rash. And he was really super helpful about all the above. So that's all that stuff is going to be in part 3, but parts 1 and 2 will mostly be covering, as you could imagine.
Yes, yeah.
The movie of the week.
Parts 1 and
Friendship.
2 are like really in-depth, cool, like interesting stuff about the movie, and 3 is just sort of Trent and I going through our separate bodily
It's us sort of like
functions and
pinching
predicaments.
ourselves, being like, we're still hanging out with this guy. Pretty cool opportunity. Like, what's your favorite food?
Yeah.
So that'll be a little bit of a curveball. So just mark your calendars for like 3.5 weeks from now. I'm already looking forward to it, even though it already happened. I'm looking forward to you guys
To
listening
reliving
it.
the experience, even.
I'm looking forward to you guys hearing it and then complimenting us.
Mm-hmm.
And then feeling better about myself for but a fleeting moment. And then
Oh,
I'll
God.
remember that like the kids are starving. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I'll bring myself back down a notch.
Well, that took a turn that was sort of unexpected, much like Friendship does. So yeah, you can go check out our interview then next week. Sharon, is there anything else we got, or can we close this puppy out?
Parth, if there were a dog here, I would close it out the room. I would.
Oh.
Be,
Hey,
Nah.
you did. You closed 2 puppies out.
Okay, this only works because the universe is giving me a softball here. But yes, I did close. There were 2 dogs in my room, and then they started being annoying and scratching, and so I closed them out. So I closed the puppies out, and now here I am again, closing a puppy out.
A 3rd puppy.
But with the interview, because the interview's over.
We'll see you next week, guys.